It will be exactly a year to the day since West Ham went to Stamford Bridge and Hernandez got that equalising goal against Chelsea. Welcome back to Ange United for our West Ham v Chelsea at Stamford Bridge match preview. It's just Anton here today. I've been away for a while, so I am back just for our very short and sweet preview. Make sure you get your comments in below and yeah, get chatting with us, get integrating with us and let us know all your thoughts. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. So, as Chelsea look to maintain the challenge for a top four finish, up step West Ham for another Premier League London derby on Monday night, live in front of the cameras. Chelsea moved up to 5th place after a comfortable win over Brighton midweek, coming off not a fantastic victory over Cardiff the week before, and then obviously the defeat to Everton previously to that. Players that stood out for me in particular, and a player that I've always had an interest in at Chelsea, a young player, is Loftus Cheek, although he is looking likely, potentially, I think it's touch and go whether or not he will miss this game. But he's a sort of player that I can actually see West Ham, well, previously would have liked West Ham to have gone for, but I just don't think we have maybe the pulling power or the negotiation power to work with Chelsea, because it seems to be that we just can't seem to get deals done with that club, even if the rumours are true from the past regarding Batshuayi and Giroud. But he is a player, you know, he impressed last time out, or last couple of games, he looked pretty strong. And obviously, you know, Chelsea have got a few other younger players coming through the ranks in Hudson Odoi, and it's kind of controversial whether or not he'll play. Sarri seems to be all over the shop with his team selection. Either way, though, we know that team has a lot of pace, creativity, and there's goals up top with Eden Hazard as a top goal scorer. But there is another player that probably just goes under the radar, but he did when he was at Barcelona, and he does with Chelsea as well, and it's Pedro. He's just capable of stepping up and scoring goals. I think he's got 8 goals this season, and I think his goals to games ratio is really high, but he's just a kind of really influential player for Chelsea and every team he's ever played for. And if you look back at his stats, and you did watch a bit of the Spanish football, he was also very influential in their teams and how they did moving forward. So, you know, we've mentioned there about creativity, players that never really give up and have the drive to move forward. And Pedro is that guy. He seems to be that kind of, you know, box in the box element style of player. He always creeps up and knows to be in the right place at the right time, and always chips in with a goal, of course. But for me personally, I mean, they've got other players in the ranks there. I mean, we've seen all the problems that Sarri's had with Kante and maybe team selections. But Bartley coming off a decent international break, playing the last few games. Giroud, you know, he's still doing the job. He's still doing a job, and he's another striker that I would definitely be interested in having at West Ham. But all in all, I mean, I still think there's problems there. I definitely think there is. I don't think they've got a massively settled side. I think obviously David Luiz is a bit of a bomb scare at the back, albeit, I mean, I'm one to comment, but I also think Ogbonna is a bomb scare. But if you look at their stats, they've won 19 games, they've lost 7. They've scored 55 goals and they've conceded 34, although they have had 13 clean sheets. But they are conceding goals. So, you know, West Ham have the ability to... We've got great attacking options. It's just whether they turn up and hit form together. That would be an interesting fact. Earlier on I mentioned to you some stats. So we've got Eden Hazard with 14 goals and 12 assists. I mean, what else can we really say about the guy? Willian, who I'm not too sure will actually be at Chelsea come the summer, is obviously up there in the ranks with the assists as well. So yeah, all in all, of course it's Chelsea, of course it's at Stamford Bridge, of course it's on a Monday night, but like I said, when we play them on the 8th of April 2019, that will be exactly a year to the day that West Ham played them, on the 8th of April 2018, and Hernandez stepped up and got that equaliser and sent the away fans into oblivion. So fingers crossed that we can turn up and do something. When it comes to West Ham, in particular, West Ham are obviously kind of, I suppose, decent news this week was that Anderson and Nasri returned into training, and also did Ryan Fredericks. So that's a positive sign. Now, we can sit here and talk all day long about team selection, and I can just give you my opinion, but my opinion is just my opinion. It's not that we have any inside knowledge or whatever about, you know, players that are going to start, etc. And plus, we've seen so many different team selections that Pellegrini has had all season. I'm not actually 100% sure what he is going to do. Stories broke this week that Arnautovic is not happy, but I mean, that was obvious. So just people stating the obvious, I suppose. Of course, he's not going to be happy. He wanted a move. He never got his move. He committed to the club, and it's not been a great kind of comeback at all. And you know what? Maybe get a goal under his belt, and that might kickstart the last 6 games we've got. I mean, what are we battling for? 7th place, distant memory. Do we want 7th place? Is it a big deal? Of course, we want to finish up as high as we possibly can. But I'm not going to go all out and say I want us to finish 7th place, or I don't want us to just, you know, sneak into Europe, because I just don't think we're ready for Europe next year. Personally, I really don't think we're ready for Europe. That does not mean whatsoever at all that I don't want West Ham to win. If West Ham won the last games, then happy days. That's exactly what I want. All I am trying to say to you is, if we didn't qualify for Europe, I'm not going to be crying, not going to be massively upset. I don't think it's a bad thing. Although, contradictory, I want West Ham to win every single game they play. Couldn't care less who they play. I just want them to win. Obviously, we're without some injured players, but I mean, the positive sign is there is attacking options there for West Ham to do. So when it comes to team selection and what Pellegrini's going to do, I mean, literally, the world is your oyster, Pellegrini, in terms of, no, I don't know, but before I suppose give you my opinion on that, what I will say is, to anyone that's out there that's kind of slagging off Pellegrini, saying, oh, he's this and he's that, he's this and he's that. And then there's comparisons coming out to David Moyes, because David Moyes had a similar length of time in the job, but David Moyes was always going to be a short-term option, and it was very obvious that it was going to be a short-term option. And because he wasn't given a long-term contract, whereas Pellegrini was given a contract longer than what Moyes was given, so therefore he's here to build something. He was also given a war chest, and to sit there, and you seriously can sit there and compare the two managers in terms of what they've done at the club. He's building something. He's brought in new players. I mean, it's not a valid argument, really. You don't have a valid argument if you're trying to compare the two. Of course, you can compare managers. Of course, you can compare forms. Of course, you can compare this and that. But if West Ham are serious about, you know, wanting to change their mentality, etc., we need to back a manager. And I don't think Pellegrini's done a bad job. There has been mistakes, but every manager makes mistakes. There has been, you know, good times in good football, and that's a positive sign. There's been great signings, and I think if he gets another summer with some really good signings, that things can maybe start to look up. Now, if you say to me, fast forward a year from now, we're in exactly the same situation a year from now, borderline Europe, pushing for Europe, then I'd be all out for pushing for Europe this time next year, or even higher, obviously, as a West Ham fan. But if we're struggling mid-table, then I can fully understand why fans would want some change. I get that. That's just normal. But, you know, we've been promised a lot of stuff and nothing came true. But that's a different game. Listen, let me know your thoughts on what I've said and get your comments in below. When it comes to West Ham team selection, I mean, you could go all over the shop, but for me personally, I just, you know, people are maybe going to, Ogbonna, I think it's time for Bill Bennett to step back in. I really do. I think Ogbonna has some decent games up and down, but see, to be honest, the turn in form for West Ham has been really since he's come in. I'm not pinpointing him as the problem. I just don't think a lot of the players at the back really fully trust him. And yes, people will say to me, yeah, but he's had great games and other players haven't. Well, that's great. Well done. You know, like, they need to be a team. They need to be in unison. It's not just a one-man defence. And there's obviously an issue when Ogbonna, you know, for the last 3 seasons has potentially been a calamity in the back of our defence. And I think that's something that We need to get Balbuena and Diop back into a bit of a routine again and plan for the future with the backups for the centre halves. But you know, you've got Fabianski in goal. I mean, what else can we say? Let's not go on about that. I would start Fredericks 100%, no ifs or buts about it. If he's fit, we need that pace at the back, be able to track back and to attack forward. You know, he's when he plays and he's fit, he does look good. So for me, it's Fredericks all day long. I would have Diop and I would have Balbuena in the centre half pairing, and of course Creswell to stay there. Declan Rice, I mean, what else can I say about the guy? Fantastic. I thought it was wrong to drop Mark Noble over Obiang. Not that I'm an Obiang hater, but I have seen for a while that he's been dipping in form, and he's probably became the inconsistent guy that a lot of people slag off Mark Noble for. So when Mark Noble comes on, he seems to offer that stability. And see basically to all you fans that slag him off, see until we've got someone better, you've just got to like it or lump it, because Mark Noble does a decent job. Yeah, okay, maybe he can go up and down in form, but a lot of players do. And I think that's exactly what we need. Plus, it's a London derby. He is there for that derby, and that is what he is there to do. He's going to be up for it. He's going to get the team up for it, etc. So for me, it's Declan Rice, Mark Noble. You've got Lanzini returning. You've got he's returned. You've got Anderson returning, Nasri returning, Arnautovic on the wings, and Chicharito. You know, I feel like Pellegrini's maybe going to stick with Chicharito and the option of the bench. I still can't help myself but say I want to see him and Arnautovic play up top and just get a run of games. You know, like they've got not many games left, so give the two of them a run of games. Yes, against a big team. Who do we drop? I don't know. I don't really want to. Not bothered about Snodgrass starting. So you know, maybe we just try the 4-4-2 formation. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's something I still want to see, because I think Reece does enough of a job there, and Mark Noble to protect. To maybe allow Lanzini, Anderson, or you know, one of them gets a rest and Nasri slips in and put Arnautovic and Chicharito up top. But I do feel that Pellegrini's going to use Chicharito as a coming off the bench type guy, and we might just see one up top. So we might see Lanzini, Anderson, Noble, Rice. But see, to be honest, I want to see another one in there. I want to see another tricky player. So I would absolutely go with Nasri over Snodgrass, and even over Antonio. I have no problem really with the two of them, but I just want to see this kind of, you know, flair play style of football. People may slag me off because it's against Chelsea, but you know, West Ham seem to, or most clubs, you know, want to raise their game against these in these. But to me, they should be raising their game every single week. Anyway, there's nothing else really to report on this game. What I can do is give you a little bit of stats. So Chelsea are unbeaten in the last 12 home league meetings with West Ham, winning 8, drawing 4 since a 3-2 loss in September 2002. West Ham are unbeaten in the last 3 Premier League games against Chelsea, winning 1 and drawing 2. So, you know, what are we playing for? To finish as high as we possibly can in the league, dent Chelsea's Champions League aspirations. It's a tough one here. I want you to get your predictions in before me, so get your predictions in below. But oh man, what do I do for this prediction? This is a tough one. I've got to go 2-1 West Ham. I just can't be negative in relation to the club. I just can't. Even though there are a lot of negatives, I've been there, done that, wore the t-shirt. So I think Pedro will step up with a goal for Chelsea, and do you know what? Arnautovic plays, he'll get a goal, and we will get Anderson will come back and go and get back on form again. That's what we need to be our main men to get some goals for the club. So Anderson or Arnautovic, 2-1 West Ham. Get your predictions in below. Let me know your thoughts on the preview. Let me know the thoughts on the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow us all on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to write for the channel, let us know. Get involved. We'll get you involved on the channel to write and put your blogs up, etc. Anyone wants to come on the show, let us know. Get involved. We'll go from there. Anyway, I've been Anton. This has been Ange United. Come on, you Irons.